The High School Sports Beat is brought to you by Alfred State College, where within 6 months of graduating, an astonishing 99% are working or furthering their studies. At Alfred State, they stress project-based learning, where students work on real-world problems and learn how to think, not what to think. Visit alfredstate.edu.
Sports. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we roll. It's wins and losses, highs and lows. It's effort, respect, and dedication. The High School Sports Beat. Sports. It's who we are.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College. I'm Dave Yates. It's part 2 of our Best of the Winter Sports Season Spectacular. And Spencerport Wrestling had a dominant season, and for anyone familiar with the Rangers program, that would not be a surprise.
Live on the whistle. Come up, come up, come up.
It only takes a few steps down this hall in Spencerport High School to realize that you are in a very special place. A place where history and success go hand in hand. And along with that comes an expectation for the current Rangers. An expectation to uphold those traditions and do whatever you can to write your own chapter. In this case, history is a motivator, but they are not defined by it.
Pressure is a great motivator. We have a rich history here, great coaches, great teams, and it's a constant reminder that we have to recreate history every year. We can't just live on our past. So like I tell the guys, no one wants yesterday's news. We're trying to get it done every day, every year.
I love it here. I mean, my whole family wrestled here. We have 8 state championships. It's just such an honor to just wrestle here.
And for the guys on the team, they realize that means more than just how they perform on the mat.
You know, that doesn't happen overnight, and the expectations for us just by coming in this room are so high. You know, if you walk around the school, people expect so much from you. And, you know, anyone can come in this room, but a true Ranger wrestler is exceeding those expectations and just being the best individual you could be.
To be a Ranger wrestler, it means to give it your all 6 minutes, no matter what, win or lose, you got to give it your all. Go out there, do your job, try to score as many points as possible for the team, and just hope that as a team, collectively, we can do our best.
After a few down years, the wrestling program here is back in a big way, climbing as high as 2nd in the state and sending 7 onto super sectionals. As individualistic as wrestling might seem, the success of the squad goes hand in hand with the success of each athlete.
Every day, each one of us pretty much works as hard as we can throughout practice, give it all in our matches, and each of us know what each other is going through, so we all try to push each other to our limits in practice and even in our duels.
In a little ways, it's a selfish sport, but it also works out that the best you can do for yourself is also the best for the team. So the best you can do is get a pin. Quite frankly, that's also the best for the team, so it works out.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
In a way, there's something of a misery loves company attitude going on here. To say practice is demanding is an understatement, but knowing that everyone there is being pushed just as hard, well, that keeps you going.
Yeah, like most people in most sports, you just practice, you go home. Wrestling, you're cutting weight. It's everything you do involves it. It's like every decision you make, it involves wrestling somehow. And like my coach says all the time, we're not civilians anymore, and we have an expectation, especially in this program, and we're expected to follow it.
We spend a lot of time together, both in season and off season, and that's a big part of our success. These guys are, in a way, brothers, and they push themselves, even though they might disagree with each other sometimes, and we sometimes see it in here. They're there for each other, making each other better, and each kid is part of the full team equation of success.
And getting each other through those tough sessions also means getting each other to the next level.
It's good to have competition in the room. It shows how developed we are as a program, and it also helps us individually because since we have competition, we have guys working each other every day, just to get better and better.
Practice is obviously much worse than a match where you're cutting weight, you have layers on, you don't stop the whole time. Most other sports, you have like one set of conditioning. Everything's conditioning in this. You use muscles that you didn't even know you had before. Like first week of practice, you can't move by the end of it because it just involves all that, every single muscle you have in your body.
Leadership comes from many places. It can't always come from us. Some of our senior guys and even some of our underclassmen do a great job of taking care of each other and pushing each other.
Out of the 7 wrestlers who competed in the state qualifiers, 5 made it to the finals and 2 moved on to the championship meet, Cal Russo and Silas Eggenloff. Another successful chapter in the history that is Spencerport Wrestling.
Coming up next, Matt Trabold joins us for the High School Notebook. We'll have that when the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College, returns. And welcome back to High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College. I'm Dave Yates. It is time now for the High School Notebook. And once again, we are pleased to be joined by Matt Trabold. Matt, thanks for coming on board.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, let's take a look back now as we look back on the winter season that was, at some of the outstanding team performances. And let's start talking UPrep basketball.
Really quickly, I wanted to preface my team picks here by saying they're just a few of a ton of talented local teams. Getting to UPrep. UPrep boys basketball was one of the first teams I was really raring to talk about this on this show, in this segment, once the winter season began, because while Ja'Kai Lucas moved on, a couple big name transfers came in with Melvin Council Jr. over from Athena and Brandon Moore over from Franklin. A big theme of the current NBA is positionless basketball, and that is the makeup of these Griffins. Early in the year, Kayshawn Ross was outshot by Council and Naz Folks, one of the other returning players, but he became more of a reliable kid, a reliable weapon with every game. The big extra push at the end of the season to help them win a sectional title was the fact that they improved perimeter shooting, plus a number of high IQ blocks from Folks and Council to start the offensive break the other way.
All right, let's stick with the Hoopsters. Let's talk girls action now. Let's talk about the Bishop Kearney girls.
So I was at the Bishop Kearney girls basketball 2019 state semi loss versus West Jenny. It did not really feel indicative of how good that BK team was. Their top Division I name, Insanaya Wilson, could not be on the floor for much of the game. LaToya Baker was a massive graduation loss from that squad, but Kearney brought back Camille Wright, who was injured for that 2018-2019 campaign, but she returned with a vengeance this season to become one of the top scoring threats in the section. Their depth with new young players helped during the first part of the season when stoic and skilled future D1 point guard Mariana Freeman was sidelined. And then in the sectional title game for Class AA, BK pulled off the feat for a second year in a row of coming back from being down double digits in the first half versus mighty Penfield to win that brick.
All right, Matt, let's go from the hardwoods to the hard water. Let's talk hockey. Let's talk head coach Dave Evans and his Webster Thomas hockey team.
So few teams in Section 5 hockey have had as much success of late than Webster Thomas. This year was no different, winning a sectional brick over the scoring force that was Carter McWilliams and Canandaigua. Impressive aspect of these Titans was their balanced attack with 6 players averaging between 14 and 21 points, and that's with Cullen Hennessy, one of their big names, having to miss a handful of games. Such a fundamentally and defensively sound squad, which really helped them, especially in sectional play against a couple big-time scoring teams, Spencerport, Canandaigua. Under Dave Evans and the staff, they really have that defensive sound, that fundamentally sound aspect. The long-haired Kevin Gabalski was one of the tip-top imaginative and unstoppable forces in the section this year. So fun to watch.
Well, Matt, obviously the winter season did not end the way anybody could have foreseen it, coming to a close, but still some great memories, some great moments, and some great highlights from the 1920 winter season. So thanks for joining us once again, Matt, and we're back with more of the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College, right after this. Coming up next, the Making the Grade nominee with Kyle O'Gara, and later on, Jon Schwind returns home to share his love for the game. We'll have his story when the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College, continues
Welcome back, and thank you for watching the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College. Hit the ground running at alfredstate.edu. I'm Kyle O'Gara.
Making the grade this week is Churchville Chi-Li senior Luke Molnar. Luke is a captain of the hockey team. In his hockey career, Luke has been on the first team All-County and on the 2020 Bowman Cup Showcase selection team. In the classroom, Luke has a 98.6% average and is on the high honor roll. In addition, Luke has also been the Division Scholar Athlete 2 years in a row. Outside of school, Luke holds a part-time job and plans to attend college after graduation. This week, Luke Molnar is making the grade.
If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. Send them into mtg@rocksportsnow.com. And now here's Dave with the McArdle Section 5 Spotlight.
Thanks, Kyle. Here are some of the athletes, teams, and coaches making news in this week's Section 5 Spotlight, brought to you by McArdle Airport. Come home to McArdle's.
McArdle's is open for takeout and delivery with DoorDash and Grubhub every day of the week. Visit our website, eat@mcardles.com.
Well, Aquinas grad Jalen Pickett wrapped up his sophomore season with a big honor, being named the MAAC Player of the Year. Jalen averaged 15.3 points per game for Siena and may very well be heading to the NBA for his next stop. Rush Henritta's Linnea Tava-Thomas did not suffer a sophomore slump at USC. In fact, Thomas is part of the number 2 ranked women's team and was heading for the NCAA championships in the 60 meters, where she is ranked 9th in the nation, and the 200 meter, where she is ranked 10th. And finally, Fairport's Nate Soucies finished his career with Penn State hockey as the program's all-time leading scorer, and then signed a pro contract with the Arizona Coyotes. Up next, the athletes from Challenger Baseball partake in a special training camp. We'll have that great story when the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College, continues.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College. I'm Dave Yates. Jon Schwind was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2011, and while the Hilton grad worked his way up the minor league system, he never left home far behind. We were there for Schwind's 4th annual Challenger Baseball Spring Clinic. Here's Paul Gott.
Hey, while we get ready, we get everybody to our stations. Okay. So, first off, okay, we gotta make sure we thank Dave. Where's Dave? There.
Spring training for the Challenger Miracle League took place on Martin Luther King Day. The now annual event brings together athletes of all backgrounds for one day to enjoy the game of baseball.
We'll walk over outside to go eat, and right before we go eat.
Founder and organizer Jon Schwind has been the driving force behind the event.
When you started this, did you envision this to get to this point?
I probably not. It was more of I was home, and it was a passion of mine when I was in season. Every town we're pretty much in has a Miracle League or a Challenger League, and so I kind of got to know the organization when I was on the road, really. And then I came home, and honestly, I started with a Google search. I just typed in Miracle League Rochester, and Ron Camp's name came up and the field that they were building in Webster. And so I reached out to Ron. I think I just sent him an email and said, hey, this is something I'd be interested in doing. I really didn't have a facility or anything at the time, and I was kind of just out on a whim. And so I asked him, and then I was working here at Salmon Creek giving lessons, and so I brought it up to Dave. And actually, when I first started working here, Dave Schuth said, anytime you ever want to do anything for charity or for community service, just let me know, and I'm all in for it. And so
I think it's organizational skills on Jonathan's part. The biggest piece of this puzzle is getting volunteers to help out. And once you get the volunteers, they want to come back because they realize how cool an event it is. And like I said before, you've got players that are kind of expect it now. It's just a highlight of their winter, I think. They like to be busy just like my kids did, and just opportunities for everybody.
Oh, it's awesome to see guys like that taking their power from being with the Pirates organization and stuff, and being able to put it to use with special needs kids who don't have the privileges that we had.
I'm much more organized the last few years than I have been. The first year was definitely me kind of scrambling, and so I did have my dad help me yesterday, and Kevin Wheelahan helped me this morning. He couldn't be here. But yeah, there's a lot of people. The Pirates donate gifts. They've done that for every year, really. Altoona Curve have donated gifts. The Indianapolis Indians sent some things this year, and I'm just really grateful that I'm able to share at least some things that people might not be able to experience or get. There are book bags this year that I know are just going to be really special for them. So.
The former Hilton Cadet star and MLB draft pick of the Pittsburgh Pirates has worked with Ron Kampf to help promote the event.
I'll tell you what, Jonathan came to me 4 years ago and had this idea, like do an indoor clinic for the kids. And it's just, they look forward to it. The smiles on these kids' faces are priceless. The volunteers get as much a bigger kick out of it. And like I said, it has grown and it's almost expected. The pressure's on Jonathan to keep this going now. Like I call him in November, hey, what do you think? You're done with baseball for a while. Are we ready to do this again at Salmon Creek? So it's a great time. It's great.
Hosted by Salmon Creek Country Club, the day includes instructional stations for the participants, as well as refreshments and gifts. The impact the event has on its participants. What's your favorite part of today?
Seriously?
Yeah.
The food.
The food?
The food.
Yeah? So you're here for the food?
I like everything, but I'm mostly here for the food.
You get your team, Paris. And you get your team too. You get King.
Yeah. What's your what's going to be your favorite part of today? Yeah. Nice. How cool of a guy is Jon Schwind?
The guy on the Spider-Man?
Yes.
He's awesome.
He's awesome?
He's awesome.
Why is he awesome?
He's just awesome. He's a cool Spider-Man shirt. I met him last year. And he's pretty cool. Yeah.
Cool. Nice shirt. Go have fun.
I'm sure the organization piece kind of overwhelms him a little bit too. I don't really ask him too much, but he tells me to come. I'm here. Can you run a station? Yeah. So I get to take it in and just see. I always say it's just pure joy. You need something to brighten up your day. You come here, you see pure joy.
There's no price tag on the joy the day brings.
I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'll tell you what, it's just heartwarming to see athletes, whether they are special needs athletes or professionals or whatever, but these kids appreciate life more than we do, and it's just so great that they can have fun, and nobody judges whether they hit the ball 5 feet or 200 feet. It's just a good time for everybody.
I just get a kick out of you go into give them a handshake or a high five, and they go for the hug every time. they want the hug, and I just think it's awesome. It's cool.
Something that I'm going to continue doing for as long as I absolutely can, and it's a way for not only obviously it's a way to give back, but this is really my responsibility in life. It's to love other people, right? And so I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to demonstrate that to others that maybe haven't come out to this, or this is their first year coming out to this. So hopefully it impacts them. I know as much as it impacts the participants and players, it impacts the volunteers just as much, if not more. And really that's kind of the gist. We're all here together. There's no differences, and everybody is able to love on each other a little bit, and we can go from there and hopefully build it in the future.
Good job, man. From Salmon Creek Country Club, this is Paul Gotham with the High School Sports Beat, brought to you by Alfred State College.
Go ahead, your turn. We'd like to thank our sponsors, especially Alfred State College, for making the Sports Beat possible. We'd also like to thank the athletes, teams, and coaches in Section 5. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week. Take care, and please be safe.